Forecasters expect Hurricane Dorian to arrive somewhere along the east coast of Florida on Monday afternoon. But exactly where is still a mystery, with some prediction models suggesting a direct blow to central Florida and others projecting the storm to veer north or south. It all depends on this dance of the pressure systems around the storm, said Hugh Willoughby, a meteorologist at Florida International University in Miami. If the forecast for its strength holds, Dorian would be the first hurricane of Category 4 or higher to make landfall on Florida's east coast since 1992, when Andrew ripped through the Miami area as a Category 5 storm, causing widespread damage. The Florida National Guard has activated 2,500 members, Governor Ron DeSantis announced on Thursday night. He added that the state had ordered 1 million gallons of water and sent 860,000 bottles of water to counties for distribution. The governor had previously extended an emergency declaration to all of the state's 67 counties. Live tracking the storm, which could strengthen to a Category 4 hurricane by the weekend as it approaches the Florida coast. A strike by Dorian in a densely populated region could be especially dangerous, said W. Craig Fugate, a former administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. He rattled off a list of Florida cities: Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Jacksonville. Where, he said, storm surge could be deadly once you start measuring in feet, not inches. Thought not saying it won't be devastating wherever it hits the shore, said Mr. Fugate, who is also a former director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. But the reality is, what drives the response is people. Orlando is inland in central Florida, but if the storm dumps rain for many hours, the city's lakes could overflow. In North Florida, the St. Johns and Matanzas rivers have flooded Jacksonville and St. Augustine even when storms have not directly hit the cities, Mr. Fugate noted. He also laid out other concerns. Expensive installations along the flourishing Space Coast, around Cape Canaveral, could be affected. Fuel shipments could be delayed by any disruptions at major hubs for cargo such as Jacksport in Jacksonville or Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale. Powerful waves in Lake Okeechobee, Florida's largest inland lake, could test its aging dike. Pounding rains might force the release of polluted waters into fragile estuaries to the east and west, which could lead to toxic algae blooms. What we've always encouraged in Florida is catastrophic disaster planning, Mr. Fugate said. Powerful winds are what define a hurricane, so they are named and classified based on how hard their winds are blowing. To qualify as a hurricane, a storm must have sustained winds of 74 miles an hour or more. All hurricanes are dangerous, but some pack more punch than others. So meteorologists try to quantify each storm's destructive power by using the Saffir-Simpson scale, placing it in one of 5 categories based on sustained wind speed. The National Hurricane Center said on Thursday that Dorian was expected to hit Florida as a major hurricane in Category 3 or possibly Category 4. Category 3 hurricanes, with wind speeds of 111 to 129 mph, can take roofs off well-constructed houses and knock out electric and water systems for days or weeks. Category 4 hurricanes do catastrophic damage, felling most trees and power poles and wrecking some buildings with their wind speeds of 130 to 156 mph. But some experts say the scale is a limited way to assess a storm's destructive potential because it focuses only on the power of its winds, and not on the surge of seawater that a storm flings ashore, or on the flooding caused by its torrential rains. Most hurricane fatalities and property damage tend to be caused by those factors. Hurricane Katrina was a Category 3 storm when it slammed into the Louisiana coast on August 29, 2005. But it was the storm surge that overwhelmed New Orleans' flood walls and levees and devastated the city. Read more about how hurricanes are categorized. Reporting was contributed by Adil Hassan, Patrick J. Lyons, Mitch Smith, and Nicholas Bogle Burrows.